Assalamu alaikum dear viewers, welcome back to our channel where you can watch videos to improve your iman and learn about Islamic ideas and stories you may not have known about. Most of us are aware of the story of Yusuf alayhi salam's life, which included his brothers betraying him and throwing him in the well. He was sold to a wealthy merchant whose wife tried to exploit our noble Yusuf alayhi salam but was unable to get any success with that. After which, he spent many years in prison, so on and so forth. But there is one story relating to the life of Yusuf that is widely heard and shared among the believers, which is the love story of Yusuf and Zulekha. Many TV series and even movies are based upon a boy named Yusuf and a girl named Zulekha, and how they got together because they believed that they were destined to be together because of their names matching with the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam and his wife Zulekha. Sometimes in weddings, well-wishers bless the newlywed couple by saying, "May your love bloom like the love of Yusuf alayhi salam and Zulekha." But how accurate is the widely shared story? Is there any mention of the marriage of Yusuf in the Quran or Hadith, or did Yusuf alayhi salam love Zulekha and get married to her? Today, we will clarify the truth behind this claim and explore what Islam really says. For those who don't know, the story of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam and Zulekha is narrated in the Holy Quran in Surah Yusuf. Zulekha was the wife of Al-Aziz, who had bought Yusuf alayhi salam from the slave market and had kept him in his house as a helper. Al-Aziz was an old man, while Zulekha was a very beautiful young woman, and she was deeply infatuated with Yusuf alayhi salam because of his youth, beauty, and pity. One day when her husband was not at home and she found young Yusuf alayhi salam, who was then a teenager, alone with her, she couldn't control her desires and thought of exploiting him. In her attempt to exploit him, she closed the doors and called him towards her. But Yusuf alayhi salam, fearing Allah, resisted and fled. Allah mentions this incident in the Holy Quran. She advanced towards him, and he would have done likewise had he not seen a sign from his Lord. This is how we kept evil and indecency away from him, for he was truly one of our chosen servants. Yusuf alayhi salam tried to escape the house of Zulekha so that he would be saved from the evil advances of her. And in doing so, Zulekha grabbed his shirt so that he would not be able to run away, tearing his shirt from the back. Later, Al-Aziz came home, and Zulekha, out of frustration, laid all the blame on Yusuf alayhi salam that he was eyeing her. Al-Aziz understood what the truth was. He understood that his wife was lying and Yusuf alayhi salam was innocent, still because he feared that he would face insults in society because of his wife's conduct. Therefore, he ordered Yusuf alayhi salam to be taken captive and spent the rest of his life in prison. Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam remained steadfast, and he chose imprisonment over committing a sin. Eventually, Allah cleared him of the accusations, and he was honored by Allah for his unwavering faith. Over time, stories from non-Islamic traditions began to mix with the Islamic narrative, leading to the widespread belief that Yusuf alayhi salam later married Zulekha. However, neither the Quran nor any authentic Hadith supports this claim. There is no mention of such a marriage in any of our most reliable sources. There are some narrations that are found in non-reliable sources that state that Zulekha cried a lot over Yusuf alayhi salam's imprisonment and even admitted her sin. Later, when Yusuf alayhi salam was released from prison, she went to meet him and informed him that her husband was impotent and she remained a virgin throughout her life. She also confessed to Yusuf alayhi salam about her love for him and said that whatever happened that day was due to the fact that she was deprived of the due rights of a wife. Narrations mention that Yusuf alayhi salam understood the feelings of Zulekha and asked Allah for her forgiveness of past sins. Allah not only forgave her sins, but also returned her youth, as she had gotten a bit old by the time Yusuf alayhi salam was released from prison. After this, Yusuf alayhi salam and Zulekha married each other and lived happily ever after. Now, Islamic scholars have examined these claims and found no basis for them in authentic Islamic texts. While some folk stories and later narrations mention this supposed marriage, they are not considered reliable. There are some narrations that are found in other ancient scriptures whose authenticity is a big question, not only regarding the marriage of Zulekha and Yusuf alayhi salam, but also in many other narrations. However, some well-known scholars have also hinted that there may be a possibility that this indeed did take place. and they have reported that not only did Yusuf alayhi salam marry Zulekha, but they also had 2 children from their marriage, whose names were Ephraim ibn Yusuf and Maisha ibn Yusuf. But the point here is that even these narrations by well-known scholars were put forward by them because they were influenced by the narrations of the ancient scriptures of Jews or Christians, which we cannot fully trust. The most important criticism of this theory is that Zulekha was a woman of questionable character. It doesn't matter if she fell in love with Yusuf alayhi salam because of his unparalleled charm and beauty. Still, exploiting a young boy cannot be a character of the future wife of a prophet. The wife of a prophet can be a disbeliever or a polytheist, but what she cannot be is a woman with doubtful character, because it will then cause doubt on the offspring of the prophet. The wives of the prophet, who was a disbeliever mentioned in the Quran, are the wives of Nuh alayhi salam and Lut alayhi salam, but nothing as such is mentioned about their character. Therefore, to assume that Zulekha, a married woman who exploited a young beautiful boy and when he refused, she tried to force herself upon him, would later become the wife of a prophet, does not make sense. The story of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam teaches us powerful lessons about patience, morality, and trust in Allah. His refusal to yield to temptation and his patience in adversity are the true highlights of his character, not any unfounded claims after a marriage with Zulekha. In fact, Yusuf alayhi salam's chastity and purity in the face of severe temptation is one of the most important lessons for us as Muslims. This is the reason why the story of Yusuf alayhi salam fearing Allah in such circumstances is emphasized, so that the youth of today may take lessons from it and to always be aware that Allah is forever watching them. We as Muslims need to always turn to the Quran and sound Hadith when learning about the lives of the prophets. Misconceptions and myths can distort the real lessons that Allah wants us to learn from their stories. This misconception about Yusuf alayhi salam marrying Zulekha is so widespread in the society that parents even name their daughter Zulekha purposely so that one day they will marry a man like Yusuf alayhi salam. They don't even bother to recall that Zulekha had betrayed the trust of her husband and had gone after a young boy, and therefore naming daughters after her is not at all a wise decision. Of course, we're not suggesting that naming a girl Zulekha does not mean that she will do the exact actions that the real Zulekha did, but the point here is that we shouldn't name our kids after someone who is mentioned in the Quran as being an opponent to our prophet in the similar manner that we don't name our sons Abu Lahab or Pharaoh. In conclusion, while the story of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam and Zulekha is often misunderstood, the truth remains clear in the light of Quran and authentic Hadith. Yusuf alayhi salam never married Zulekha, and the focus of his story should always be on his faith and patience, and be always cautious that Allah is forever watching our actions. If you enjoyed this video and would like to learn more about the lives of the prophets or other such true Islamic content, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more authentic Islamic content. Jazakumullahu khairan for watching.